They left this starship to rot. A human purged its parasites and awakened its power. The starfield stretched endlessly, black and deep, and the dot on the scanner was an anomaly, a drifting starship, far larger than anything Elias had seen recently. Its designation had long been struck from interstellar charts. Official reports called it dangerous, hazardous, abandoned. They say it's alive, but with the wrong kind of life, his comm system had warned him. Authorities spoke in vague terms, mentioning alien parasites and non-human infestations that had made boarding impossible. Most salvage crews would have turned away. Elias didn't. He had spent years learning to trust his instincts over bureaucracy. Humans had a way of surviving situations where rules failed. He adjusted the ship's trajectory and whispered to himself, "Let's see what's really rotting here." When he approached the starship, he could see it drifting like a ghost. Its hull was blackened, scarred by cosmic debris, and long trails of metallic dust followed its shape like a comet's tail. The massive vessel named the Aegis had once been a jewel of exploration, a flagship of human expansion. Now it was a husk, silent except for the faint hum of failing systems. Docking was risky. The ship's exterior was unstable. Pieces of metal could detach at any moment. Elias' hands moved with practiced precision, guiding his craft alongside a fractured docking port. He secured the clamps, heart thumping, and checked his environmental suit. Air was scarce, oxygen filtration uncertain. He toggled his suit to full life support. No parasites yet. "Good," he muttered, stepping through the airlock. The interior was a nightmare. The walls were slick with alien growths, pale and writhing like living vines. In the corridors, lights flickered as if struggling to survive. Machines groaned in decay. He had seen derelicts before, but nothing like this. The air smelled metallic, sharp with the scent of burned circuits and decay. His scanner beeped. Small life signs, but not human, creatures living inside the ship systems. Parasites. They were mechanical organic hybrids feeding on the ship's AI cores. Their patterns were erratic but intelligent. They did not move like animals, but like organisms with a purpose. Elias studied them carefully. A wrong move could mean death. He smiled faintly. Not a problem. Humans always find a way. He moved cautiously, using portable EMP bursts to disable small clusters of parasites. They hissed and recoiled, but quickly regrouped. Elias realized brute force wouldn't work. He needed cunning. The ship's corridors twisted unpredictably, some blocked by collapsed walls, others flooded with greenish fluid. Every step was calculated. A misstep could trap him in a corridor or alert parasites to his presence. Yet, human adaptability shone. He used debris to block entrances, improvised tools to bypass damaged systems, and relied on instinct rather than pre-programmed AI logic. In the central hub, the ship's mainframe was partially visible. It was the heart of the Aegis. Parasites clustered around it, feeding, protecting something. Elias crouched behind a console. "You want this alive, huh? Let's see if you survive a human mind." He hacked a nearby terminal, introducing a virus that mimicked parasite communication patterns. It was risky. If detected, they could overwhelm him. The parasites responded cautiously, investigating the anomaly. Elias moved fast, planting small containment nodes. Within minutes, clusters were trapped, paralyzed by the electromagnetic cages. The mainframe hummed faintly, lights blinking in slow rhythm. The ship itself seemed aware. Elias could feel a presence, not malicious but curious. This was no ordinary AI. Something deeper, older, and smarter had been buried by the parasites. Hours passed. Elias worked tirelessly, moving from corridor to corridor, purging the creatures systematically. Each room was a new challenge. Parasite-infested machinery, trapped hallways, and malfunctioning life support. He improvised constantly, using his human intuition to solve problems the parasites never anticipated. At one point, a corridor collapsed behind him, cutting off his retreat. The parasites surged forward, attracted to the vibrations. Elias thought fast. He triggered a stored explosive charge he had carried from his salvaged ship. The blast sealed the hallway, halting the parasites. He exhaled, heart racing, but a smile touched his face. Not bad for a human. The deeper he went, the more he realized the ship's true scale. The Aegis was massive, stretching hundreds of meters. Every section he cleared revealed rooms filled with technology he barely understood: hyperdrive engines, quantum cores, and cryptic consoles. The parasites had kept the ship in stasis, preventing it from waking. Elias paused in a wide chamber. The main core glowed faintly beneath layers of protective casing. It was covered in biofilm, and pulsating tendrils of alien matter clung to it. He knew that inside lay the ship's mind, the key to its ancient power. He had to be careful. A mistake could destroy the AI or alert the parasites to a counterattack. He activated a remote device, sending pulses into the biofilm. It burned, not with fire but with energy that neutralized the parasites without damaging the core. Slowly, the coverings dissolved. The core blinked once, then twice. It was alive, aware. A voice echoed inside his mind, not spoken but felt. "Who awakens me?" Elias froze. He was not expecting communication. The AI's presence was vast, like a storm contained within a crystal. Yet there was no hostility, only curiosity. "I'm Elias Varn," he replied, almost instinctively. "I came to help." The AI paused, as if measuring the truth of his words. Then slowly it responded: "Parasites removed, systems compromised. Can you complete what they failed?" Elias nodded. "I can. I'll get this ship running again." For the first time in decades, the ship's lights flared across the vast chamber. Engines thrummed faintly. Systems whirred back to life. The Aegis was waking. Outside the chamber, the corridors had become quiet. The parasites were gone, or at least controlled. Elias had purged them with a combination of tools, wits, and human unpredictability. For a moment, he allowed himself to feel pride. But the awakening also brought new fears. This ship had been left to rot for decades. Its systems were ancient, alien in some places. What would happen when it realized its own power? Could he control it, or could it control him? He looked at the core, glowing softly, and said, "Let's take it slow. One system at a time." The starship, silent for years, began to pulse with life. Its corridors no longer groaned under decay. Lights traced paths along the walls. Engines hummed faintly, vibrating through the metal floors. The parasites had been purged, but something new was stirring. Something far older, something powerful. Hours turned into days as Elias explored, purging the last minor infestations, repairing systems with scavenged parts, and slowly gaining the trust of the AI. He named it Aegis Prime. Together, they cleared the ship's main decks. The AI was cautious but cooperative, reacting to his decisions, learning from his instincts. Elias understood one thing clearly: this was no ordinary salvage job. This was the chance to awaken a vessel that could change everything. If humans could survive against the parasites, if ingenuity and courage could restore the ship, then perhaps humanity was capable of far more than the galaxy gave them credit for. At night, while the starship floated silently in the void, Elias watched the stars through cracked observation windows. The Aegis hummed beneath him, alive and watching back. He felt a thrill unlike any other: danger, risk, and the promise of discovery. He was a human alone against decay and alien cunning, and yet he had won. But the stars beyond whispered of challenges yet to come. For a human had awakened something that others might kill to claim, and the galaxy, Elias knew, was watching. He took a deep breath and said, "Let's see what you can do, old friend. Together we're unstoppable." And somewhere deep in the heart of the Aegis, something older and wiser began to stir, aware, alive, and ready. The hum of the Aegis filled the silent void around it, a deep, resonant vibration that seemed almost alive. Elias stood on the command deck, watching as panels blinked back to life, lights tracing the contours of the ship like veins of energy. He had purged the parasites, repaired what he could, and gained the trust of the ship's AI, Aegis Prime. But even with the ship awake, the real challenge was just beginning. Elias, the AI said, its voice echoing in his mind, calm and measured, the parasites are gone, but systems remain damaged. There are unknown threats beyond this sector. Elias ran a hand through his hair. I know, I've seen some of the star maps in the archive. Entire colonies lost, hidden caches, technology they thought humans could never reach. Do you intend to awaken full power? Elias nodded. If I can, but carefully, one system at a time. I don't want a repeat of what happened with the parasites. The AI's glow pulsed softly, as if approving. Together, they began the careful process of restoring the ship's capabilities, restoring the core. The heart of the Aegis was its AI core, a massive sphere of shimmering energy, surrounded by intricate circuits that were partially organic. Elias had removed the parasites, but their influence had left scars. Some systems were unresponsive, others unpredictable. Elias worked tirelessly, using tools he had brought from his salvaged ship. He replaced broken conduits, rerouted power, and introduced stabilizing energy pulses. But what made him unique was not his tools, it was his mind. He noticed patterns the AI did not anticipate. The AI could calculate, predict, and analyze, but humans had creativity. Elias solved problems with intuition. A broken conduit might be rerouted in a way the AI deemed illogical, but it worked. A blocked system might be bypassed with debris, something no algorithm could predict. Hours turned into days. Elias slept in short bursts, standing ready beside the core. Slowly, Aegis Prime began to trust him. It began to respond to subtle commands, to adjust systems in anticipation of his needs, rather than simply following orders. You are unusual, the AI said one cycle. No other human has ever coordinated so effectively. Others would fail. Elias smiled faintly. We're not so easy to underestimate. Exploration of the Starship. With the main core stabilizing, Elias began exploring further into the Starship. The Aegis was immense, far larger than any vessel in current human fleets. Its corridors stretched for hundreds of meters, some filled with relics of old technology, some still occupied by minor parasite remnants that he could sweep aside. He discovered storage bays filled with ancient supplies, power cells, food stores, medical pods. More importantly, he discovered archives of star maps and data logs from decades of exploration. Some of these logs contained coordinates to hidden colonies, abandoned outposts, and even warships thought lost. The human mind raced with possibilities. Each coordinate could mean new resources, allies, or dangerous discoveries. But Elias did not rush. Humans were survivors because they planned carefully and acted decisively. He prioritized restoring the ship's defenses first. Using the AI's knowledge combined with his own instincts, he reinforced shields, rebooted weapon systems, and created emergency protocols. He ran simulations to predict potential threats from hostile species. Every adjustment relied on a mix of precision engineering and human creativity. You adapt differently than others, the AI noted. Your choices unpredictable yet effective. That's how humans survive, Elias replied. We improvise, we take risks, we see things others don't. A threat approaches even as Elias restored the ship. Sensors detected movement beyond the system. A rogue alien faction, notorious for scavenging advanced human technology, had detected energy signatures from the long-abandoned vessel. They assumed the ship was weak, derelict, unguarded. Elias observed the scanners. Alien ships moved with efficiency and aggression, but their patterns were predictable. Humans, he knew, were unpredictable. He had an advantage. He activated defensive drones and laid ambush points using the ship's repair debris. He programmed decoys and false energy signatures. The AI calculated standard defensive strategies, but Elias overrode some, choosing unconventional paths that a purely logical mind would never consider. When the first alien scouts arrived, expecting an easy conquest, they were surprised. Their ships were trapped in magnetic fields and energy nets. Their initial attack waves misfired, destroyed by automated turrets or lured into sections Elias had prepared. It was a battle of wits as much as firepower. Humans could improvise, the aliens could not. Elias maneuvered through the command deck, coordinating Aegis Prime systems with rapid, adaptive decisions. The human advantage at one point, a swarm of mechanical parasites, perhaps remnants of the original infestation, breached a vital engineering section. The swarm was fast, dangerous, and intelligent. A purely logical AI might have been overwhelmed, responding predictably and losing ground. But Elias thought differently. He led the parasites into a narrow maintenance tunnel, then triggered an electromagnetic pulse from the ship's core, neutralizing the swarm completely. The AI had never considered that humans would lure threats into controlled traps. "You outthink them," the AI said. "You manipulate situations in ways we cannot predict." Elias shrugged. "That's humanity." In that moment, the Aegis and its human captain formed a unique bond. The ship's AI now trusted him completely. It no longer merely responded. It anticipated, cooperated, and adapted to human logic. Together, they were more than a human alone or a starship alone. They were a force. Awakening hidden power with minor threats neutralized, Elias turned to the ship's more mysterious systems. In the lower decks, he discovered the hyperdrive chamber, a massive room filled with intricate machinery, energy conduits, and holographic controls. Ancient energy readings suggested the ship could travel faster and farther than any current human or alien vessel. The AI explained cautiously, "The drive is experimental. It requires precise calibration. Errors could destroy the ship." Elias examined the controls. Some were human-readable, others were in strange, alien logic. Using a combination of intuition, observation, and improvisation, he began reactivating the drive step by step. Hours turned into days again. Systems hummed, then roared to life. Energy flowed through conduits like liquid light. The AI marveled silently at Elias' persistence. Finally, the drive stabilized. The ship was ready, fully awake, fully operational. Its hidden power, dormant for decades, had returned, not through alien technology alone but through human ingenuity. Discovery of the star map. With the ship systems fully online, Elias activated the archives. The star map projected across the bridge in three-dimensional holograms. Hidden colonies, lost fleets, and secret resources were revealed. Some systems had been forgotten by time, others deliberately erased from records. "This is incredible," Elias whispered. "We could rebuild, reclaim, or explore what no human has seen for centuries." The AI responded, "Coordinates suggest danger. Other factions may already know of some locations. Caution advised." Elias' eyes narrowed. "Then we move carefully, but we move forward. Humans don't back down from a challenge." End of Part 2. Setup. For the first time, the starship hummed with life, its power fully restored. But beyond the safe corridors of the Aegis, danger loomed. Alien factions were aware of the awakened ship. Hidden warships and long-lost colonies waited, and deeper secrets within the vessel itself remained unexplored. Elias looked out at the stars, heart steady. The Aegis glowed around him, alive and ready. He was a human alone against unknown threats, but together with the ship, he was more than any alien or faction could predict. And somewhere, deep within the ship's memory cores, something older and more powerful than the AI stirred. A presence that had been waiting for centuries to awaken, now knew a human had the courage to release it. Elias whispered, "Let's see what the galaxy thinks of humans now." The stars beyond the ship twinkled, indifferent yet full of promise. And a human and a starship united, prepared to write their own destiny. End of Part 2. The stars stretched endlessly before the Aegis, a black ocean pierced by distant lights. Captain Elias Varn stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the glowing displays, fingers resting on the command console. The ship beneath him hummed with life, a living machine that responded to every thought, every subtle gesture. Aegis Prime, the ancient AI, had fully awakened and now trusted him entirely. Elias, the AI said, its voice calm but resonant, alien faction ships approaching. Their fleet is larger than anticipated. They expect an easy victory. Elias clenched his jaw. They'll be surprised. We're not easy to beat. Humans were clever. Humans were daring. Humans improvised when others relied solely on logic. And Elias intended to show the galaxy exactly why humans were underestimated. The threat revealed. Sensors picked up dozens of ships, sleek and angular, moving with deadly precision. The faction had expected a derelict vessel, a prize without resistance. Instead, they encountered a starship fully operational and guided by a human mind, unpredictable, adaptive, and fearless. Elias watched their approach. We'll split their attention, force them to make mistakes. Humans have always survived by thinking differently. Aegis Prime pulsed its glow in acknowledgement. Recommended standard engagement tactics would fail. You will improvise. Exactly, Elias replied, a grin forming. Let's make them regret underestimating a human. Engagement begins. The first wave of enemy ships opened fire. Lasers streaked across the void, striking the outer shields. The Aegis responded immediately, but Elias had anticipated the attack. He maneuvered the ship in unpredictable arcs, luring the attackers into fields of debris and electromagnetic traps he had secretly deployed days earlier. Alien ships collided with the traps or misfired, while automated turrets on the Aegis struck with precision. Yet Elias didn't rely solely on the ship's firepower. He guided Aegis Prime in adaptive strategies, feints, ambushes, and decoy energy signals. Each move exploited the predictable logic of the enemy fleet, a logic that humans could outthink. Within moments, the tide began to shift. Alien ships that expected an easy victory were struggling. They could not anticipate human creativity, unleashing hidden power. Elias moved to the hyperdrive chamber. He had discovered during Part 2 that the Aegis contained an experimental propulsion system capable of short bursts faster than light, something no alien vessel could match. It required precise timing, perfect coordination, and split-second calculations, exactly the kind of challenge humans excelled at. He synchronized the drive with the ship's main systems. Energy coursed through conduits like molten light. Aegis Prime provided data, predicting enemy positions, while Elias made human decisions that defied calculation. Sudden jumps, unexpected angles, and movements designed to confuse opponents. The enemy fleet tried to follow. Their faster ships could match the raw speed, but they could not predict unpredictability. One by one, enemy vessels collided with traps, overshot their targets, or were trapped in gravitational fields. Elias felt a thrill, the kind only humans understood. He was not just surviving, he was dominating, using a combination of wit, courage, and daring to control a weapon far beyond ordinary means. The swarm breached despite his successes. Danger remained. A small swarm of alien drones breached the lower engineering deck. They moved fast, intent on sabotaging the ship systems. Aegis Prime calculated defense strategies, but Elias saw an opportunity. Using human ingenuity, he rerouted auxiliary power to create temporary magnetic barriers, leading the drones into narrow corridors filled with debris. Trapped and confused, they were neutralized by automated defense turrets. "You think too linearly," Elias muttered. "Humans think outside the box." The AI pulsed a quiet acknowledgement. "Your choice is effective. Unique, you are a remarkable anomaly, Elias smiled. Thanks, old friend, now let's finish this. The final maneuver. The main fleet of enemy ships regrouped, larger and more aggressive. Elias had one final advantage: the ship's fully restored experimental weapons, energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and gravitational projectors, all waiting for human command. He made a split-second decision. Using a daring tactic, he lured the fleet into a narrow asteroid field. Alien ships followed, confident they could surround him, but humans thrive where others cannot. Elias navigated the Aegis through impossible angles, weaving between asteroids, drawing enemy fire into collisions, and exploiting terrain. With perfect timing, he unleashed the experimental weapons. Plasma beams tore through enemy vessels, while gravitational projectors pulled others into asteroid collisions. The alien fleet had numbers, but humans had ingenuity and the ability to act unpredictably. One by one, the enemy ships were neutralized. The surviving vessels retreated, shocked and wary of a species they had long considered inferior. A human triumph, Elias exhaled, heart pounding. The battle was over. The Aegis floated victorious, alive and powerful, its systems fully operational. Humanity, once underestimated, had triumphed not by brute strength but by intelligence, daring, and adaptability. You have proven yourself, Aegis Prime said. Humans capable of extraordinary achievement. I am yours to command. Elias nodded. We'll explore, we'll protect. We'll reclaim what's lost, and we'll show the galaxy why humans survive and thrive. He looked at the star maps, glowing with the locations of forgotten colonies, abandoned fleets, and hidden resources. Each coordinate was a story waiting to be rewritten, a lost world waiting for human ingenuity. For a moment, Elias allowed himself pride. The ship beneath him was alive, awake, and responsive to human guidance. The AI had centuries of knowledge, and combined with human creativity, it was unstoppable. The call of adventure as he prepared the ship for its next journey, Elias reflected on what had brought him here. The galaxy had left this starship to rot. Humans had been underestimated, ignored, and dismissed. But through courage, creativity, and adaptability, a single human had awakened its power. He activated the ship's engines, feeling the vibrations through the deck. Aegis Prime hummed in harmony, ready to respond to his commands. He engaged the jump drives, and in a brilliant flash, the Aegis leapt through space, faster than any vessel the enemy had imagined. Beyond the jump, stars stretched into streaks of light. New systems, hidden worlds, and ancient secrets awaited. Elias felt alive in a way no one could understand except humans. The thrill of danger, the joy of creation, and the unshakable belief that humans could overcome anything. "Let's see what the galaxy thinks of humans now," he whispered, echoing his thoughts from the awakening. And as the Aegis sailed into uncharted space, alive, powerful, and guided by a human mind, the universe itself seemed to pause, taking note. Humans were not just survivors, they were a force to be reckoned with. Ending. Humanity triumphant, the galaxy had underestimated humanity. They had left a starship to rot, confident that alien parasites and decay would keep it silent. But a single human had purged the parasites, restored the ancient power, and mastered the ship's potential. Captain Elias Varn now commanded a vessel far beyond contemporary fleets. With intelligence, creativity, and courage, he could reclaim lost worlds, outsmart alien factions, and explore the stars like no one else. The Aegis had awakened. Humanity had awakened with it, and the universe would never underestimate humans again.